Hey guys, it's RWC here. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys my combined starting 15 for the French and the Boks for this 2023 Rugby World Cup. Again, these two sides will be facing in the quarterfinal this week, so I thought what better time than now to give you guys my combined starting 15 between these two great sides. Again, before we get into this, make sure to like the video, guys, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment below letting me know if you guys agree or disagree with my selection, and also put your combined start 15 as well. I want to know what you guys think in terms of what would be the best squad that you guys can make. So I want to know in the comments what you guys think, of course. But again, remember, this team is based on form, so that's the key thing which I've kind of I kind of had in my mind when selecting these players. Again, there's maybe a few players in here which you have to base off maybe before this World Cup, but I'll get into the reasons why. But it's really just based off form, so that's just keep that in mind before you maybe I guess judge in that sense of the players I've selected here. But other than that, let's get straight into this. So of course, with the front row that I've gone with here for this combined start 15, I've gone the likes of Stephen Kitsoff at number 1. I've gone with Peto Muvaka at number 2, and I've gone with Uni Antonio at number 3. So again, this is the front row I've gone with. 2 French, 1 Boker, of course, and yeah, I think Stephen Kitsoff, he's been very consistent throughout this World Cup. From a scrum standpoint, he's probably been the better player compared to his counterpart in Frans Malherbe on the other side, and that's kind of another reason why I've selected Antonio over Malherbe, just because I think Malherbe is also given, he's kind of given a lot more penalties, let's say, within this World Cup through the scrum, and I think Antonio's just been a bit more impactful, you could say, for the French. So that's kind of the reason why I've selected him ahead of Malherbe. Again, Stephen Kitsoff, I kind of had to go with him. It's just it's an obvious, really. He's just been very consistent for the Boks. Never has really let the Boks down, I'd say, in this World Cup. And he's always someone you want to have in terms of that front row. And, of course, for the hooker spots, I've gone with Muvaka ahead of the likes of, Bongi Nambi or Dion Fourie, of course. And, again, yes, if Malcolm Marx – I can't really consider Malcolm Marx in this just because, he's only really played – technically, one game? And I just it feels wrong to kind of select him. Again, if this was, if he wasn't injured, I probably would go for him 100%. As I still see him as the best, hooker in the world. But again, because he hasn't really played enough games, I can't really put him in contention. And I think Muvak has been playing pretty good, I'd say. But he's been in good form actually for the French. I mean, he literally scored a try against the Italians, I believe, against Namibia, I think, as well. I mean, he's had a just overall just a very impressive World Cup. So I think he's just a standout hooker, I'd say, in that position. I guess you could say Dion Fourie is probably the one you could challenge him, just because he's had a pretty impressive World Cup. Again, he's obviously had more minutes than what was expected of him with Malcolm Marx's injury. But overall, that is the front row I've gone with for this combined 15. Again, with the lock pairing for this one, I've gone with the likes of Eben Etzbeth at the number 4 and Franco Mostert at the number 5. So it's a big call here to go with the 2, Bok locks here. Again, they're really the competition, I'd say, in this sense, from a Bok standpoint, is really, I'd say, RJ Sneijman. He's probably the only one I'd probably put in contention to get into this side. And from a French standpoint, it's really Thomas Flamand and I'd say Cameron Walkie are the 2. Again, maybe Paul Williams, but he's been injured too much. So yeah, it's really between Cameron Walkie and Thomas Flamand. And I think out of the 2 of them, I actually think Thomas Flamand has had a better World Cup. He's been a bit more, he's done more for the side, I'd say, in terms of, in the lineouts, as well as just winning the ball actually in the breakdown a few times. And I think he's even had a try for himself as well. So yeah, he's been all over the place. But again, Eben Etzbeth is the number 1, lock in the world. You're not going to miss him out, essentially, in this one. It's clear and obvious. And yes, I know he did miss one game, but since then, he's been able to kind of carry it on. And yeah, he's been pretty impressive overall. So I think we'll go with Eben Etzbeth, of course. And then, yeah, Franco Mostert, he's definitely the one that's, kind of had a jump, I'd say, in terms of the form throughout this World Cup and even going into it beforehand. So, yeah, Franco Mostert's definitely the guy I'm going to select at number 5. But, again, moving on towards the loose forward trio here for this combined 15, I've gone the likes of Sia Khaleesi at number 6. I've gone with Peter Latoy at number 7. And Gregory Aldred at number 8. So, again, it's a tough selection here because I think Khaleesi is the obvious one to go with at 6. I mean, there's not really any there's not really a lot of competition, I'd say, in that spot. I mean, I think Khaleesi just wins it on a landslide because he's had a great World Cup. Even going into it when he played, Wales and the All Blacks before this World Cup, he was kind of getting back into his very best. And in this World Cup, he's been, He's just been everlasting presence, and he's continued that form in this World Cup throughout the group stages. So if I were to make a combined 15, based off this quarterfinal matchup, he would definitely be in it. And again, he's a leader on and off the field, so that's just the added factor to him as well. But again, with Peterson Detroit, he's also another player who's come back from injury and has really stepped up, I'd say, without this Rugby World Cup. He got that try against the Scottish in that opening game against the Scots. He was pretty good in that one. Again, he's kind of carried that on throughout the other games as well. And yeah, he's been someone who hasn't been really subbed off, I'd say. He's kind of had more minutes. He's probably had the most minutes, actually, I'd say, out of all the loose forwards from a box standpoint. So it just shows he's definitely someone you can rely on from a minute standpoint. So yeah, he's definitely in the side, and yeah, his tackling alone just makes him a great player. And then again, I've gone with the likes of Gregory Aldred, and he's someone. I mean, again, I was really considering Jasper Wiese, I'd say, in this position ahead of Dwayne Vermeulen, just because I think Jasper Wiese's probably had a better tournament compared to him. But when you're comparing Jasper Wiese to Gregory Aldred, I think Aldred just has been the much better number 8 so far. I mean, he's had 2 man of the match performances as well. One against the All Blacks and one against the Italians. So yeah, you also have to kind of look at that as well. And he's been all over the place. I mean, from a tackling standpoint, he's been pretty good for the French. And yeah, it's just someone that you can definitely rely on. So that's kind of what I want in terms of that loose forward trios. So that's the forward pack done now for this combined 15. Moving on then towards the backs, I've got the likes of Dupont as well as Matthew Jalabert as my 9-10 combination. Look, it's tough because, I mean, Dupont's probably the easiest one to go with because, I mean, is it easy? I mean, it's not as easy as you think, actually, because Dupont is definitely the best player out of the bunch. I think that's not really hard to say. When you're going against the likes of Faf Kirk, what you have, Maxime Lucy, of course, the backup for the French. You have Cobus Lanek, you have Grant Williams. I mean, those are really the competitors who could have got that spot. But I just think Dupont just is at another level. And yes, I know he's injured at the moment, but for what we've seen so far, and just for the caliber of player he is, you wouldn't want to miss him out, really. And he will be available in time, of course, for that quarterfinals. So that's just another reason why to add him in this side. And again, I mean, Reinach has had a pretty impressive World Cup. I think he's at 4 tries at the moment, so that's pretty impressive. I think Grant Williams has had 2, but again, he's played more off the wings, so I don't know if it's a bit of a stretch to put him at 9. But again, Faf Kirk has just been very consistent. It's not really any. He hasn't really made any problems. Again, he could have worked on his kick, I guess, against the Irish. But besides that, I mean, yeah, I think Dupont wins this. And then, yeah, in terms of that 10 position, Matthew Jalabert, this was a tough one. This is probably one of the toughest calls because, again, I originally had Matty Lubbock here, because I just feel he's been very impressive. That Scotland game he had in the first one, that no-look pass is kind of incredible to see live. He kind of carried that on, of course, to the Ireland game. And, yeah, he's been pretty good. And even that Romania game as well, I believe he played. So, yeah, it's just one of those where he's someone that's really stepped up, I'd say, throughout this World Cup. He's had a lot more minutes than expected, which is the obvious. But you do have someone like Andre Pollard obviously coming back from that Tonga game, who I could have included actually in this lineup, but I just feel it's wrong. It's kind of like Malcolm Marks, where yes, Malcolm Marks just hasn't had enough minutes, and I don't think it's right to include Andre Pollard in this because he hasn't had enough minutes. He's only had 50 minutes in this World Cup, so I don't think that makes it. I think it's too low to kind of a mark to kind of put him in the conversation of that starting fly half. So that's the reason why I got Matthew Jalabert. I mean, his performance against the Italians was insane. I mean, that kick where he got tackled in the process and kicked it to the right-hand side where Damien Penon scored, and then you had the try he scored himself where he kind of ducked over 2 Italians and one pass and then came back inside, little step in out, and then go straight for the try line. I was like, whoa! It's like he's a very he's a tricky player in the way where he has a good skill set and he's able to find that sidestep with ease. So yeah, I mean, I like that in a fly half because you're able to kind of find space and you want that within that 10 position, of course. So yeah, that's the reason why I've gone with those two as my 9-10 combination. In terms of the centers, I've gone with the likes of Dimi Delende and Gael Fekou. Again, it's a tough one. Again, you do have the likes of Jonathan Dante here. I could have gone with a 12. I could have gone with the likes of Jesse Klill at number 13. Even like Esterhazen or Kaden Moody if you want to include them in the conversation. But I think it's really between Dante, I'd say, for that 12 spots with Dimi Delende, and I'd probably say Krill against Fekou. And I just think Delende has probably been more. He's probably made more of an impact, I'd say, for this box side throughout throughout the group stages compared to Dante. Yes, I know Dante's obviously scored 2 tries, and he kind of he missed out on that, obviously, that All Black game because he was injured. But I just don't think I don't know. I would still put Damien Delande just ahead of him because I think he's also yes, they're both battering rams, but I think Damien Delande can also find that offload better than Dante. And I also think that he's a better passer as well. And that's someone I kind of like that in 12. So that's the reason why I'm going Damien Delande ahead of Dante in that call. But yeah, in terms of Fickou, I think it's Fickou versus Krill. I think Fickou has been incredible in this World Cup. And he's just someone who I think is very underrated in terms of what he does for that French side, in terms of the back line. So I had to have him. I have to have him in. And he's quick as well. He's very quick. So that's just another kind of asset to have in that terms of that central combination there. But yeah, again, moving on towards the final 3 in terms of this back line. I've gone the likes of Cheslin Kobe at the number 11. I've gone with Damien Bonon at number 14 and Thomas Ramos at the number 15. So some big decisions there. Again, Cheslin Kobe's been playing mostly from the left in terms of 11 spots. So, it's really between him and the youngster. I'm forgetting his name now. It's bad of me. It's like Breer Bailey. It's like something. And he's actually been pretty good so far this World Cup. I think he's at like 4 tries, if I'm not mistaken. He's only 20 years old. So, he has a long career ahead of him. But, you have to kind of think of experience as well and what just Cheslin Kobe brings to you as a player and how he can suck in a defense and obviously leave gaps open on the other side. I just think Cheslin Kobe is just someone you have to have. And then, with Damien Bonon, I mean, he's scored 6 tries now, and he's on. He definitely has the opportunity now to kind of break the record in terms of the try scoring record in the Rugby World Cup, and he may even equal France's record, I believe, with I think it's Sergio Blanco, if I'm not mistaken, who's also scored 8 tries and something like that. So he could also tie that record if he wanted to as well. So. Yeah, no, it'd be incredible to see him do that in this Rugby World Cup, and he definitely has the ability to. But again, they have to go against the box in this one, so it's going to be tough to see if he can do it or not. But no, he's been incredible so far. Just someone who he really just has an eye for the try line. So yeah, you definitely want that in a winger for sure. And then yeah, obviously with that 15 spot, Thomas Ramos, I think there was a clear and obvious decision. I mean, this is probably the easiest decision I think I had in this back line because he's been by far. I mean, when you're comparing him to the likes of Willie LaRue, who hasn't enough minutes, I'm not even thinking of Willie LaRue in this conversation. It's really between him and Williamsa, I'd say. And Williamsa, yes, he's had a good World Cup. He's obviously got, I think, a try or 2 in this group stage. But I just don't think he's been as impactful for the box compared to Ramos and what he's been able to do, particularly from the kicking standpoint. Because again, you have to remember, I've chosen Matthew Jalabert at the number 10, who isn't known for his kicking. And when you have someone like Thomas Ramos there, it just it kind of gives you a bit of reassurance in that sense where he'll be able to kind of take over the kicking duties. So yeah, that's another reason why I come with him. And yeah, he's just been incredible this World Cup. Really up there as one of the best players, I'd say, in this World Cup so far. Again, we're still in the early stages. The group stages are obviously coming to a close, and we're kind of now in the quarterfinal mindset. But he'll definitely be in the conversation, I think. In terms of that best player when the tournament finishes. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you guys obviously enjoyed this concept. Leave a like, of course. Subscribe to our channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.